Hello and welcome to episode 42 of Weird Mind Newsroom. Now don't mind my disheveled look, I am completely all over the place, and this episode I believe is going to be releasing just before I turn much older than I already am, but still the nervous anxiety news for yourself that happened for the last several months, and for a long time. But anyways, I'm here to delve into some of the mixed variety of new releases, some trailers, as well as a case of some news stories. So let's get into what came out in the media news of this week.
So dance to your stop. Do you wanna go home?
With the first of the film releases for this week, we've all had some form of imaginary friends in the past, or even still do in the older ages. Most of the time, that's just the voices I talk to most times because I just basically just talk with myself most of the time. But this week, we have an all-new horror film that's known simply as Imaginary. This film finds a woman named Jessica moving her family to her old childhood home, where soon her youngest stepdaughter, Ballast, finds a small stuffed bear named Chauncey. But when her behavior becomes more and more disturbing, she soon discovers that the stuffed bear may be a lot more sinister than it seems to be. Now, reception on this film has been not that great, and that while the concept is interesting, the basis of the film has seen many times with a lack of scares or frights in this case. But if you want to see the fear of a small bear could cause, and you can check out this new film as it's out now in cinemas. Now, we've all heard of the basis of the damsel in distress from plenty of stories in the past, but now we are talking on taking the latter part of that quote out, as we have the all-new film courtesy of Damsel. Now, this film will follow Elodie, played by Millie Bobby Brown, a headstrong woman from a distant kingdom who's invited an engagement to be married to a prince of a nearby kingdom known as Eora or something, I think, that could help bring their nation's struggles and all that to an end. While all sounds good at first, it's discovered this is all a ruse, and that she's been used as a sacrifice to appease a fire-breathing dragon that resides over the land that they used belonged to that creature, and soon she must use her wit and must find a way to escape the creature and exact revenge against the kingdom that wronged her. Now, reception on this has been quite mixed. There was some praise to the performances, including the main lead. The visuals and narrative have been a bit more of a mixed opinion, where a lot of say the visuals are quite underwhelming, and the basis of this being more like a strong feminist leading film, focal story kind of thing, would have been initially great in theory and probably would have done better a few years ago, but we've fast forward a lot of time, we've seen a lot more movies that have kind of delved in this concept a bit more better. But it may be appealing if you want to check it out. If you want to do some form of a new strong female lead film, you can check out this new film now on Netflix. Now, as for TV, we have a follow-up to a small 2019 hidden gem from popular British filmmaker of Guy Ritchie, and it's technically a follow-up with just a small change of like cast and stuff. And this, of course, with a series of The Gentleman. Now, this will follow the story of Eddie Halstead, who suddenly becomes the sole inheriting owner of a 15,000-acre land and manor and become the Duke of Halstead, but soon learns that his land is also part of a secret weed growing business run by the man known as Bobby Glass. As long as he keeps it quiet, he may be in for a cut on the little of the action. Now, the reception of the series has been decently well received for its writing, its cast, and connection to the original film for a few years ago, with a bit of some fun flair to it. If you're interested in checking it out, you can catch the full season now available on Netflix. Now, this one was actually supposed to be my very first video. It's technically a lost pilot. I think I still have the video files on my drive somewhere, but I have no idea. But since it's now an official full release, we are heading back into the dark walls of the experiments of the Murkoff Corporation as we have a new game in the form of the Outlast Trials. This new single-player / co-op adventure will see you become a test subject for Murkoff as you travel across some vast different locations to complete tasks and objectives, while avoiding certain death from some of the freaks guarding the areas, like an unhinged police chief that likes to tase himself in the nuts, and a deranged nanny with a kooky hand puppet. Now, reception this time has been well received for its scares, its visuals, and for the co-op aspect, with some critiques on the lack of content, but as well as some of the narrative bits mixed. Well, some updates probably will come along over time. But if you want to try it alone or with some friends for a scary good time, you can play it now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S and PC, and possibly PS4 and Xbox One, but I'm not sure what that last two. And lastly, we're talking a little bit of music releases. Now, I know there's an album by a certain much bigger musician that also came out this this week on Friday, and has caused drama from what I've seen. Supposedly it's stirring drama about her husband supposedly cheating on her, when in reality most of the time with her relationships she's cheated on other relationships or caused drama and all this stuff, but I'm not getting into it. But instead talking about some more comical and tastier ass jams to me, as the boys of Daddy Sex Bang and Ninja Brian have returned to us with their 11th album of These Nuts. Now this will hear some great tunes such as prepping for a concert while prepping to sort other things at the same time, a perfect song to describe what I experienced internally a lot more lately and from earlier today because it was a lot of stress. What I blur once I start to learn to drive this year when I pass and get a vehicle of my own, a song about the environment, and many more great tunes. Now I've listened to the full album a few times and I can say it's another great selection of classic comedy tunes on my hands. I can listen to this new album now on all music sharing platforms including Spoofy, YouTube, and all or wherever you want to listen to, and probably case of what I'm going to do, you can also get it in physical format. I want to try and figure that out soon. But with all that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week.
2319! We have a 2319!
Now, on the trailers this week, there is a noticeable pattern where about 80% of the trailers this week are all in the animation field, which is a surprising thing for once. And the first of this week conveniently released on the day that this certain character hates the most week, and this is of course with everyone's favorite fat orange lasagna loving cat, as we received a new trailer for the upcoming release of the Garfield movie. Now, this will see Garfield tell the tale of how he was adopted by John and Odie and all that stuff, and how life seems great. But suddenly when him and Odie get kidnapped by a sadistic, powerful other cat, they will team up with Vic, Garfield's long-lost father that's voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, to escape from their captors, complete a daring heist, and get back home just in time for dinner. Now, I think that this looks like the form and style of the original comic strips from Jim Davis. It has some decent humor I can say from it. While the likes of Chris Pratt doing his normal voice again is a bit of a concern, I think it's fine enough. I think logically what I'm hearing from it, it does sound a lot like the similar other voices that Garfield's had from other comic strips. But I hope it will be entertaining, and I can check this new film out when it releases in cinemas on May 24th. Now we go from Sony to the creative minds over at Dreamworks Animation, and while the US will be receiving the latest entry in the Kung Fu Panda series this week, and a not so great sequel to a 14-year-old cult classic film from them, I have watched it, it is not that great. We have received a new look at the next project, and this is in the form of a film known as The Wild Robot. Now, this film is based on a popular book series and will follow a robot of Roxxam Unit 7134, or ROS for short, who is shipwrecked on an uninhabited island and will soon learn to survive against the harsh surroundings, the gradually building relationships with the animals on the island, and becoming the adoptive parent of an orphan gosling. Now, I have to say one thing, and if you watch this trailer, I gotta say, it's fucking beautiful. From the simple lack of dialogue to focus on the visuals, which seems to be going in the same similar style of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I have to say, this trailer did make me feel emotions near the very end of it, and how well it's made and shown. And I, for one, am very much looking forward to this now, and you can be able to check this film out when it releases into cinemas on the 18th of October. And now for the last of the two animated film trailers, are both coming to us from the animation studio I care a lot about, and this is with Pixar. And the first one, well, it's not a film, but it's coming to us with another announcement to be releasing this last year, but no word was finally announced at that point. We have finally got the trailer for the second season of Monsters at Work. And this will follow on from the first season. We'll see Tyler Tuskman and the MIFT team, or the Monster Inc. Facilities team, coming to terms of how being jokesters, and it seems to be a bit of a challenge for Tyler. So when a career day at Monster University brings him into contact with Johnny Worthington, offering a career at Fearco, he will have to decide, will he stay with his newfound community or go pursue what he was meant to do. Now, I enjoyed the first season, and while it's not probably up to the standards of the two films, I had a lot of fun with the other style kind of series, and hopefully we will see a lot more characters from the prequel films. Maybe even appearances from the Uzma Kappa clan community, but who knows. But I'm sure we will find out when the series premieres on May 5th of Disney Plus, I believe. It's an April something on Disney Channel, but I feel maybe they might work around it for international releases, but I have no idea. And for the last of the animated trailers, we're getting to know our emotions once again, and even some new ones, as we have received another new trailer for the upcoming film of Inside Out 2. Now, this will follow the now teenage Riley and her emotions in the head of joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger as they go through their own sense of change as the headquarters gets an upgrade, and with it comes new emotions from the process of going into puberty, which includes a new emotion including anxiety, a small orange ball of stress, who I very well relate to a lot, envy, a little emotion with the biggest eyes, ennui, the emotion of boredom that could not care, and the fearful but gentle giant of the embarrassment, who may be taking over control and casting out the original gang and must find a way back to headquarters and stop her from changing Riley for the worst. Now, I've been very excited for this film, and I think that the introduction of these new emotions is a great addition that could make them the villains sound like a great idea, in case I can relate to emotions I've been constantly living with the sheer fear of it. And I think this looks very funny. There's a joke at the very end that I didn't expect to crack up so hard at, but I really liked it. I can definitely feel this is going to have a very meaningful message and it's going to relate to a lot of people. But I'm sure we will find out when the Feel Everything movie of 2024 releases on June 14th. And wrapping up on the trailers for this week, we will be heading into the distant dystopian future frozen in the past, as we've received an all-new trailer for the video game adaptation of Fallout. Now, this series will follow the aftermath of an alternate history from advancements of nuclear weaponry after World War II, and a resource war causes a total nuclear apocalypse, and for civilians to head underground to the vaults below. Now, 200 years later, a vault dweller from Vault 33 will emerge to the surface and leave behind the home she has ever known, and find life and herself amongst the dangerous remains of a devastated Los Angeles. Now, I've played a bit of the games in the past, and from what I've seen from the footage of the two trailers, it does look like they're really kind of respecting the material. It actually looks very entertaining, and hopefully it will be pretty good and decently made. But we don't have to wait too long for it, as the full release of the series will be dropping on April 11th on Amazon Prime. And with all that, that's the trailers for this week. Now I'll start this week's news stories with a story I was planned to discuss last week, but I felt it fit more to the basis of one of the new releases of this week, and in general this has two different stories. One's a smaller one and one's a larger one with a certain bat. Now the first small bit of news is the announcement that TWRP is dropping an all-new album very soon, and has announced the new album of Digital Nightmare releasing in about 2 weeks time on March 22nd. And this is a great thing to hear to add more music to my growing selection of NSB and TWRP, eventually later in the year with Starbomb's 4th album, and I will look forward to that album's release. Now, I'm delving more into the actual story now, and this is to do with one of their songs. Now, many songs can have some meaning to a lot of people, from the lyrics, the music tone, the song itself, and maybe even from the music video or the message that comes with it. And to say my taste is anything but normal is a bit of an understatement. If I'm more excited for a different album than a larger musician's new album and prefer comedy, indie, experimental, or classic 80s, 70s, 60s and all that other stuff, more over modern day stuff from most other big artists, it's kind of saying something. But, everyone has their own meat to it. But the focus I want to really rely on is one song I adore from this band, and it's a song known as Starlight Brigade. Now, while the first half of the name has an important meaning to me in my heart for someone, of course, the ballad in particular is one of the most visually stunning and fantastic pieces of music videos I've ever laid my little big blue eyes on from the visuals. And it is a case that just from the visuals, the music, the song, story, and so much more, to the point where I've been inspiration to my final year project in college that I may actually release at some point. I'm going to make it either in a video form or release it as the PowerPoint thing I've made. It's a choose your own adventure style narrative, but I'll get to that another time. And it's just kind of a case that many like myself have wondered if we could ever see something like this be made into a full-length animation or anime. And it turns out it may have been potentially planned. You see, about a week and a half ago, these Groove Crusaders announced on their socials that they had at least the last 2 to 3 years been pitching to make this into an animated series. They had a very clear vision, story, cast, crew, and everything in between, with the music video as a jumping off point, as a proof of concept. While most places appreciate the enthusiasm and the concept, they seem to have passed on in general, and I for one thinking most of them is making a big stake and seems to be in agreement on socials about it as well, as thinking that they should make it or even crowdsource it. Kind of thing. Now, I feel that they should look at the basis and see that the likes of the creation of shows or franchises from YouTubers is a new market that is starting to see major growth and do well. With examples like Sakadell or Psychic Pebbles and Michael Cusack creating Smiling Friends a few years ago, with a second season coming this year I'm looking forward to that as well. But in case with Cusack, we're going under stuff like YOLO for Adult Swim and Koala Man for Hulu, and we also have Vivian Medrano or Vizzy-Pop releasing Hazbin Hotel this year on Prime Video of A24. That is very popular. The soundtrack is the #1 spot for last month. Another season's on the way, and it is a really great show, and I will be doing a review for that as well. I'm trying to figure out whether to do it like all in one or do episode by episode. I'll figure it out. So I do hope that these Crusaders will get a chance, and some studio will see the success potential, and hopefully we will get the great Starlight Brigade series it was always deserving to get. But what are your thoughts on this whole ordeal, and do you see this hopefully getting released into an actual series at some point? And what are your thoughts on this other shows mentioned? Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Now the next one, we'll be delving into an announcement of 2 new confirmations, with the first of an announcement to more adventures, the other a film initially planned for release at the end of this month, with pushed back to a new release date. So starting with the first discussion, as was discussed 2 weeks ago, we saw the release of the full season of the live-action version of the popular series of Avatar, The Last Airbender. That has seen some more mixed reception since its release, from its messiness, the source material, and all that stuff, but to those that loved it or enjoyed it for its efforts, well, you're in luck, as it looks like they're planning to make the full story into an actual reality. As was confirmed earlier this week, they will be receiving 2 more seasons to the show, which lines up with the length of the original series with 3 seasons. Now, is the case, I do hope that we will actually do one thing and listen to the fans and make it more faithful to the source material and not be like a Witcher situation, but we'll have to see over time as they start production on these 2 series, which most likely I think in the next year or 2 we'll see season 2 or something, so that's my guess. Now, as for the other piece of announcement news, we were initially supposed to get this new film known as Mickey 17, starring Robert Pattinson and being directed by Oscar winner of Bong Joon-ho. I was initially planned for release on the 29th of March. However, around the beginning of February, when I made that the 2-parter video, it was suddenly removed from the release calendar. Now, we have received some update on it, and we now have a new planned release date of January 31st, 2025, which will coincide with the Lunar New Year of next year. Now, it has been considered as a war contender for a lot of people, and most cases it could still happen, but we'll have to find out if it's still eligible for that year's Oscars, but probably not. Who knows? But I'm sure it'll be interesting to see how it turns out when we see some footage and other stuff like that, but we'll get probably some updates on the project very soon. But what are your thoughts on the announcements of the renewal for Avatar and the release of Bong Joon-ho's newest film? And do you think the Avatar one will stick to the source material or make it a mess? Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments, and let's discuss them there. And the last of the stories for this week is one story that was mentioned a few weeks ago that will see the end of the journey at the end of this week, and the news of another end of an era that came out of nowhere this week, and we delved into in this final story. Now, I'll start on the news that came out of nowhere this week and shocked a fair amount, and to some that was thinking it was heading to the end of this, but it was announced that Time Warner was shutting down the content creation giant of Rooster Teeth after they had been in service on the internet for 21 years since their inception in 2003. And they were seen as one of the biggest companies on the internet and on YouTube besides the original idea of a website, as well as the 5-year defunct giant that was known as Machinima. Over the years, they have posted many channels and concepts like On the Spot, Achievement Hunter, Slow Mo Guys, Sugar Pine 7, and the one I followed from Machinima to Rooster Teeth up to a degree and check in now and again with was Funhouse, as well as the creations of the most popular animated series like Ruby, Camp Camp, and of course, Red vs. Blue. Now, the announcement came as a surprise to many, including those in the company, and seems to be adding to the list of scrap things from WB, though it may be from other aspects. It might not be fully WB, I have no idea. Now, they haven't fully shut down as of yet, as this will be over the process of the next few months. But it's sad to see this giant company close its doors when they provided entertainment for over 2 decades, and I would like to thank them for their many years of entertainment, and I will follow along with some of those creators over time with their new adventures wherever they may find themselves. And to add to the summer news of the week, a good while back in January, we had discovered through a video that theorist extraordinaire of Matthew Patrick, or MatPat, had announced that he will be stepping down as the focal person on all 4 channels of food, style, film, and of course, game theory on the 9th of March. As recording a few hours since its passing, we have received the actual full-on emotional send-off video, and not focusing on any games at all, but rather on the channel itself, and a bit of his history and passing the torch to the new hosts of the channels. as well as some surprise cameos over the course of its 6 different endings. Now, I have followed them for well over a decade now, with my first video, remember, I think was about Mario being insane, to the likes of following some series like, Bendy the Ink Machine, Hello Neighbor, stuff on Sonic, other platforms, and of course, his extensive 60+ video lore series on Five Nights at Freddy's. We gotta still figure out the lore anyway. And to me, I know you probably won't see this video, and I know it's a case that, it helped was a lot of entertaining, and it helped me theorize a lot of stuff as well. I made my old noggin start thinking of stuff whenever I watch things like, there's some definite theories to this kind of thing. And personally, I like to thank MatPat for many years of entertainment, from just always enjoying this theories you come up with every week for different things, like, is a certain character a robot, or all other stuff like that. It's really entertaining. And while I know the channels may not be dead and we hosted with a new host, I still appreciate the level it's been brought to, and hopefully it achieve great success for all of them, as well as for MatPat. So, thank you for your service. And just proving that it wasn't all just a theory. But what are your thoughts on these somber announcements? Are you surprised by Rooster Teeth's closing, and will you miss MatPat? Because I know I probably will. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. And with all that, that's all the news that we have for this week.
Hey, what'd you get for your birthday? I got older!
And from all of this, that brings us to the end of episode 42 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and the last recorded one of where I'll be 23. That's completely mad. Now, just a bit of some updates. So, I have just released my Oscars prediction video there about a day or two ago, which you can check out down below on my channel, where I'll be dig through all 23 categories. We'll get my own thoughts on some things and complaints. And I'll be interested to see how many of them I actually get right. I feel like I probably get a fair few right, but I'm not going to say that I'm going to get all of them. I'd say I'll get some wrong, but I'll have to see when it comes along. As for some other bits, I'm going to get to some reviews anyway. I'm going to add the Megamind sequel into there as well. Just want to give my thoughts on that one. It's probably going to be a short one, probably. That's the case. Well, I want to talk about with some shows. I have at least Hazbin Hotel, Thelma, and Last of Us I want to do. Do I do it in episode by episode and give a sort of a lengthier review stuff, or just do it all collectively together? Because it's kind of an odd choice. I don't really know what to do. But I just want to hear your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think. I might do a community post or something like that. Besides that, Rewatchathon will eventually come. Date, I have no clue. I'm gonna get to it. Head is wrecked all over the place. You know the stuff. Long for videos I'll get to, gameplays, all this other stuff I'm gonna get to. I've got to figure it all out. But that's essentially it for this episode, and I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did want to see more from me, then why not send me a like and subscribe, because I upload new videos every week, and I appreciate all the support from just viewers, subs, likes, or even the odd comment now and again, and I appreciate all the time and dedication you might put into me. But I'm just a simple guy. I'd like to make videos and talk all things media. You know the gist. But let me know what your thoughts down below in the comments on everything that was discussed this week. Have you seen any of the new releases? What are your thoughts on the trailers? And give me your opinions on some of the news stories. You might know some bits like the Rooster Teeth stuff, or maybe you know some of the Star Brigade thing. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there for now. So thank you all for watching, and as always, you all stay being wonderful people, because you all are wonderful people. And have a great day every day, doing many great things, and of course, keeping you, because no one else can do what you can do. And when I return, I'll probably be, probably older, still fully anxiety ridden, but that's just me. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. So take care, everybody, and goodbye.